So I've had someone just in the last year, they started a new job December 1st, which meant as they left the company, they missed out on their bonus for that whole year that they worked, that whole 11 months, because they left before the end of the year. Their restricted stock that they were going to get in the following year is now void.
You do Roth conversions, because I think that that's what goes on YouTube and TikTok and all of that is Roth conversions. And I'm like, yes, I love Roth conversions. I love the idea of it, but it doesn't make sense in every situation.
Well, if you then come to the company and say, okay, I know we're going through some struggles. I'm thinking about retiring. Before you fire me, because I know I'm in the firing line, I'm going to resign now and make sure that you don't get any adverse impacts of that. But in return, I would like X. So for some people I've worked with, it's my RSUs that vest next year. I want them now. When I talk to executives, some of them do have stock of their company in their 401k. So if you are trying to time the month that you're going to retire, you do not do it when you're... When you retire, it should not be random. It should be planned down to the specific month. Yeah, not the year, the month. We're talking getting your benefits lined up, your money lined up, and you lined up, all ready for it. 5 things we're going to cover right now. Welcome back to another episode of Playbook of the Wealthy. My name is Dave Grant. My co-host is Heather Townsend. We are talking about when you retire, down to the month. It all matters. If you've not been to our podcast before, we split it into a number of sections. We dive into content, we answer questions, and then we tell you a whole bunch about ourselves, whether you like it or not. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, Heather. This is something that I have been thinking about in more detail recently. Okay. Because it actually makes a big difference. And I'm finding more advisors talking about it. And we're talking about lots of different topics. And so I'm boiling it down to 5. And
you're getting giddy.
Oh my goodness.
You've loved it. This is like...
I'm ready to go. I'm fired up for this.
Mr. Retirement Matters is very excited right now.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
So I think it helps if we're talking about these 5 things, we got to use a case study because that's really going to drill down into why these things are important and give a good example of how it works.
I like that. We're using a case study.
We are.
What's our case study's name?
Jeffrey.
That's my daughter's giraffe in the room. Big, huge giraffe. Jeffrey. So, okay, Jeffrey. Okay, what's going on with Jeffrey?
Matt, if you do not throw in my name's Jeff, meme in here, you're fired.
My name is Jeff.
All right, so our example, it's going to be someone earning $250,000 as a base salary.
Okay.
Bonus on top of that, and restricted stock units on top of that.
Am I allowed to ask a few questions?
Yes, you may.
When are RSUs and bonus paid out?
Bonus and RSUs, so restricted stock units, for those who are not aware, stock in your company that vests over a certain period of time, meaning you get access to it occasionally and on a structured basis. They will come out every spring.
Okay.
So we're talking February, March time.
Q1. Got it. Okay, so Q1, $250,000, and Jeffrey earns a bonus and RSUs that vest in Q1.
Yeah, so total comp's probably going to be about $400,000 a year.
Okay, all right.
So my assumption here is that Jeffrey's been working with a financial advisor to design a portfolio over his career. They've talked about goals going into retirement. He's feeling good about it. He just needs to know when to pull the trigger.
Okay, what month?
Yes. So the first thing, what's it going to be?
All right, so anytime in the year he can retire.
Anytime.
Well, I'd want to max out his 401k to get that tax deduction. So what's 250 divided? I mean, let's just say probably February or March. By that time, he could have maxed out his 401k. I'd also look into the employer match, see what's going on with that. Is it vested over, or matched over every month, or is it just flat and you get it right away? I know more for my husband, we get it once a year, and it's normally the following year.
Okay.
Which is interesting, right? So for all of 2025, he just got his 2026. He just got his match for 2025 and 2026.
Gotcha.
And it's sizable. So you got to pay attention to that. And then also, not yours, but mine, max out the HSA if he has one. So I'm going to try to get, is Jeffrey over 50?
See, that's the thing he's got to think about. Like, how much can I put in? When can I put it in? So, for example, he is over 50.
Oh, is he over 55?
Sure.
There's this random catch up in HSAs that it's
Okay.
not 50, it's 55. But okay, he definitely has probably, if he's going to do what we want to do,
He's 56.
let's just say there's $40,000 of money we want to get in here.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably, we're now looking at April so far.
Okay.
Because I want to max out HSA, max out 401k. I don't know the rules on the employer match. Got to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think the key thing here is to say if we're maxing out the 401k in 2 to 3 months, there's going to be zero income hitting his paycheck.
Yeah.
So it's going to require some planning before that in the prior year to say, okay, Jeffrey, you got to have some cash on hand to live on because you're getting zero paycheck because all of it is going your 401k and maxing out your HSA too. So that requires some pre-planning, but if you can max out those two things in the first 2 to 3 months, the reason we're saying that is so he gets a full year of deferred income in those plans in the space of a couple months. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also allows him the rest of the year to do some cool planning, which we'll come on to later. But it just doesn't mean that he's just plodding along. It's very strategic, accelerated, and it just is amazing.
So excited right now.
I am struggling to sit down right now. I want to meet Jeffrey in real life, even though I just made him up.
Let's just go through our listeners on the next one. Just go, the NUA.
Well, this is a little thing. So when I talk to executives, some of them do have stock of their company in their 401k. There is a strategy called, I'm going to nerd out, net unrealized appreciation, which is when you get the stock in your 401k, it's a really low basis, which means you paid pennies on the dollar for it, and it's worth a lot of money. Instead of rolling all of that to an IRA, you're instead going to pull that stock out, pay some taxes now, pay a lot less taxes later, whether it's a year or 10 years from now, and it's going to be a lot easier way tax-wise to get that stock out and be able to use it. I am not going into a huge amount of detail with that because it's nuanced, but that's something that is fun to look out for.
Okay. So number one, we're going to max out 401k, HSA, and see if they have some company stock in their 401k.
Mm-hmm.
That's our first step. I will say for my business owner clients too, what I love is we're so controlling of their cash flow, right? So we could still max out 401k because we control that. We can still max out HSA. I would still do the same thing with my business owners as well. I wanted to say that. You don't have to be an executive to maximize that.
Right.
All right. Number two, capture your prior year's bonus and RSU payouts. I mean, were we really going to leave $150,000 on the table?
This is something that is different per company. So I've had someone just in the last year, they started a new job December 1st, which meant as they left the company, they missed out on their bonus for that whole year that they worked, that whole 11 months, because they left before the end of the year. Their restricted stock that they were going to get in the following year is now void. Mm-hmm. They have missed out on it. Mm-hmm. So if you are trying to time the month that you're going to retire, you do not do it when you're missing out on benefits. So you pretty much say, okay, when does my bonus get paid out? It gets paid out in February. When do my restricted stock gets paid out? That's March. Great, I'm leaving in April. So you get everything from the prior year, and you also, you're not kicking yourself of that current year, because if you leave 3 months in, you're like, I just gave up 3 months of my bonus, 3 months of my stock, whatever.
Well, and for $150,000, that's not a small amount either. Right. For 3 months, that's pretty good for 3 months.
Yeah, you can coast for a little while. You know you're retiring. You can, I'm not suggesting this, you can do the bare minimum of work for 3 months to log those things. One thing that's interesting though.
Clawbacks?
I wasn't going there. Okay. You can go there. Is if you are in a high position and the company's struggling, and I've seen this happen decades ago, you can say, okay, I'm not going to retire, but I'm going to resign. And in terms of doing that, if the company's struggling and they're doing layoffs, if you start to lay off people, you're probably going to have to pay them a severance package.
Oh, yes.
And you're probably going to have an unemployment claim go against you as the company. Well, if you then come to the company and say, okay, I know we're going through some struggles, I'm thinking about retiring, before you fire me, because I know I'm in the firing line, I'm going to resign now and make sure that you don't get any adverse impacts of that. But in return, I would like X. So for some people I've worked with, it's my RSUs that vest next year, I want them now.
Smart. Yeah.
And so you're not missing out on that money. Same with the bonus. You're like, if my bonus hits in March, I'll resign in November because I know it's coming. And we don't need to play that game, but I want my bonus paid out now.
Was this your 2008, 2009 days?
This was the BP Deepwater Horizon days. This was people lined up at the door saying, we'll resign, we're leaving, we're out. It did come with a non-compete though. That's the problem.
Okay.
So there's some stringencies.
Okay.
Were you going to talk about clawbacks?
Well, I mean, every company's different, but, you know, I'd always just make sure in employment agreements or whatnot, like, is there anything that if they leave with their bonus or their RSUs right away, do they have to pay any of it back? Is there anything that they have to stay for some time or whatnot?
I have seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always got to check the employment agreements or whatever the legal documents are where you find that information, but you got to dig for it. So it's just something I thought of too when thinking this.
All right. So Jeffrey's 56.
Okay.
He is going into that healthcare hole. So this is number 3. How are you coordinating your healthcare coverage?
This is not the funnest one at all. No. I mean, so you got COBRA, right? And that's normally, don't quote me, but I believe it's like always 1.1% of what the premium is. So that's including the employee and the employer premium. So, you know, I think that's where people, you know, they're used to just having, let's just say $400 a month taken out of their paycheck or paying because the employer is matching the other 50%. So really the premium's $800
Sure.
a month. Well, now it's 800 plus another 10% or whatever the COBRA premium is. So you're looking at now $900 when you've been used to being paying $400.
Yeah.
And so I do think I have seen with my retirees before 65, and especially in the last year or so, health insurance premiums have skyrocketed.
Yep.
It is insane. And so I think this is something really to pay attention to. And he's not going to have Medicare yet. You know, and Medicare doesn't kick in until 65. So it's comparing that COBRA premium to what can I get on the marketplace or whatever else a good health insurance agent can recommend. And when we were writing this, I was saying, you know, that to be ahead also with timing is when do I would get my client with that health insurance broker probably December, November of the year before he's going to, you know, if he's going to retire in Q1.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how we're laying this out.
Yes. This is hard and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have clients who are thinking, okay, maybe 57 is the right time to retire and I think I can just about make it with the money I have, I'm politely asking them to pump the brakes a little bit. Like if you can go an extra year and not pay out of pocket for healthcare and still add some savings, that's going to really help you in the long run. Like if you enjoy your job, let's stick it out another year. If there's a lot of other things going on, maybe it's time to leave. But this healthcare variable is huge in this situation, especially if you're retiring mid-50s and you've got 10 years of this to go through. This is expensive.
This is one of the most expensive line items in my client's plan before 65. I will also say it's fascinating because the premium tax credits you can get on the marketplace, that depends on your income, right? And so your income can drastically drop from being, you know, this W-2, Jeffrey making $400,000 to now we've designed a withdrawal strategy and we put away 30, 40 grand of his W-2 in Q1. So he's not, and then we're going to take maybe cash from his portfolio. I don't know what we're doing. We're going to get to the other items here, but his tax rate's probably not what it was. And so that's also the interesting thing is planning, okay, what are the tax credits? What income number do we not want to go over to make sure we can maximize on the tax credits?
Sure.
So that is that's a nuanced one.
It is. I like to have people work this backwards because if the goal line is 65 and that's the pinnacle, like we're at Medicare, there's no gap.
You are just, everyone, Dave loves retirees. Can you just tell? Oh my goodness.
So then we're saying, okay, so if it's 65, COBRA's 18 months at a standard. Now we're playing 18 months away from 65. Can you work up until that point? If not, I don't want people retiring 20 months before Medicare. Because if you're doing that and you're on COBRA, now you've got that 3-month gap. It's annoying. It's nothing. It's going to cost you a little bit, but it's just annoying at most parts. If you're going to retire, leave a year or two. Let's really have some fun with, like you said, designing zero income, getting ACA credits to where your health insurance is quite low, and then transition into Medicare.
You know, it's funny, your clientele versus mine. Most of my clients that are retired or in financial freedom, let's say it, have come to me and already been retired. So I haven't been able to go through. There was one or a few clients, and one of them I will remember, they were just so miserable from their job. It didn't even matter. I didn't want them to stay there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So then it's like, okay, fine. A few more months of health insurance. Your mental health is more important. Again, personal financial planning, but it's, I wanted to add in as I'm going through this, I'm like, as I'm applying it to some of the clients I've had, I'm like, yeah, a lot of this actually went out the window because they got to a point where they just wanted to retire so bad.
Sure.
Interesting.
Can I get kind of real nerdy for a second?
Okay.
I want to change the scenario. Jeffrey's 64.
Do you wait till Medicare? Is that where you're going?
I'm going to lose some people here. I'm talking about IRMAA.
Oh dear. Yes. This is so important though.
It is. So IRMAA, I'm not going to go through the definition, but it essentially means your Medicare premiums are based on what your income was 2 years ago.
Yes.
So if Jeffrey is retiring, let's say he retires at 64, he hits Medicare, they're going to look back at his income at age 63 and calculate what his premiums are. If we're retiring and we're looking at, let's get the lowest premiums we can at 65, I'm retiring Jeffrey at 63 and making sure his income's really low for the next 2 years. And then mapping out a plan where we can keep it not super low, but just making sure that he's living the life he can in the best way possible tax-wise, so that IRMAA doesn't spike and make his Medicare premiums go through the roof.
Yes. So many things just on health insurance alone. Our listeners are like, what?
Yeah. Give me the month. I want to know.
Okay. So basically I would say get them with a health insurance representative and get a plan for health insurance.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4, create more time to do Roth conversions by producing a year of no income.
So this goes back to number 1. Like if we're saying, okay, we're going to accelerate all your income through March to where your W-2 that you get at the end of the year is going to show 0 income because you deferred it all. So what does that mean from April all the way through the end of the year? Like you've got no income that's showing up on your W-2. You've essentially got a $0 amount on your tax return. That's still not smart because you've got all these standard deductions and exemptions that you need to use in order to make sure that you're making the best use of the tax code. So then you start taking money out of your 401k and IRA, do some Roth conversions to move it over into a Roth IRA so where you're paying no taxes going forward. And we could design this, as awesome financial advisors that we are, to where you're paying 0 taxes to do that. Because we're just going up to the exemption amounts. You've already got cash to live on, Jeffrey, because we've designed this already. And you're making sure that you're rolling over those initial sums and paying $0.
Let's talk about how we would design it. You know how I would design it? It's the bonus and RSUs right there. You have it. It gets paid out in Q1. You got $150,000. I mean, okay, after taxes and all of that, but if you took, your last year's bonus and RSUs and you took this year's bonus and RSUs, you have it right there. There's your cash. You live off of that and you do some Roth conversions. What Dave and I were talking about, when we're not on the podcast, we still talk about financial planning stuff because we're nerds, but what Dave and I were talking about is how different our clientele is. This scenario hasn't worked well for my clients because they're not as lopsided as I think yours that come across your desk. Mine don't have these humongous 401ks, pre-tax IRAs where I need to be like, I need to do some Roth conversions because we're going to, they have brokerage accounts, they have Roth, they have, some pre-tax money, but it's not this like massive percentage of their portfolio.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to look at too. It's not just an automatic thing.
Yeah, I have numerous clients who are retiring in the next 2 years who have 401ks 2 million plus.
And that's sizable. I mean, that's, especially, 2 million plus is a big deal if you have, 400,000 elsewhere. But let's say you have 3 million, 4 million on the outside, then it's like, well, okay.
It's balanced at that point. It's nice.
Yes.
But where that is going to be the sole source of their income.
Then you are definitely, that's what I'm trying to say to our listeners. It's like, this is not just a line in the sand, you do Roth conversions, because I think that's what goes on YouTube and TikTok and all of that is Roth conversions. And I'm like, yes, I love Roth conversions. I love the idea of it, but it doesn't make sense in every situation.
Yeah, it's the lopsided ones where you're like, okay, we got to even out this portfolio.
If you only have pre-tax or that's mostly it in a 401k or a traditional IRA, then this is something you need to be thinking about.
Yeah. It also helps when, this is coming from the corporate world again, when there's a pension that's going to be kicking in. Most of the time, it's going to be 62 or 65 is when the full benefit gets paid out. But if you're not doing planning before then and the pension then kicks in, you can't defer the pension. Like that is your baseline tax bracket from here on for the rest of your life. And if you're already in the 22% tax bracket, you don't have a lot of room to work with if you still have a lopsided portfolio and want to convert some things. So if you can do this before your pension kicks in and start playing in the 10 and 12% tax bracket, that's a dream in our world.
Yes, it is. 120%.
All right, number 5. This one's kind of an add-on, but it's talking about and checking your pension service credit. Do you want to take us through it? Or
no, I want you to.
This is my nerdiness again?
Yeah, I mean, well, because you deal, like I think to put in where this sticks with people is, I think it's more your clientele. Like you used to work with a lot of teachers and stuff like that. That's where there's a lot of pension service credits.
Yeah.
I don't see this come across my desk very often.
Yeah, so I've seen it in the teacher world and I've seen it in the corporate world where the service credit timing is different from when everything else pays out.
And service credit, let's define that. I am assuming that is another year worked, right? That you've worked for the company, and so that is going to increase your pension by a certain percent. And the longer you work with the company is the more pension you are going to receive.
Exactly. So it goes into the formula. So a lot of pensions have numerous variables. One is going to be compensation, whether it's over your career or over the last 5 to 10 years. Another variable is going to be the tenure you've had at the company. And so that, as much as you can get that to increase, it's going to increase the benefit that starts to get paid out.
Well, and one of my clients who's a doctor who just left did have this. And, you know, I'm not going to quote this probably right off the top of my head, but it was something like they had to be there for at least 5 years to even be in the pension system. Like you had to, so there are things you want to pay attention to. If someone's at 4.5 and they were going to retire, and it's like, well, if you just stay for half more year and you now have access to this pension, you want to be aware of that.
I even say this when people are looking to leave jobs. I'm like, can you, if you've got 3 months left until you're vested in the pension, can you wait 3 more months?
Yes.
Because you're leaving a lot of money on the table just for a 3-month time span. You could be getting zero pension, or it's 15, 20, 25,000 a year, depending on how much that pension is. But this comes down to the month of when you retire. And then it's a timing thing. Sometimes if RSUs and pensions get paid out in February, March, and pension service credit is sometimes based on your hire date. If that's in October, you have to decide what you're going to give up. Are you going to retire the October before and get that full year then and nothing after that? Or are you going to retire mid-year and get a partial credit, but still get your bonus and RSU payout and just forego that pension amount for the 6 months because you left?
It's numbers and goal planning. This is where it's both. It's like, how happy are you at your job? What are the things you want to do? How's your health? How is your portfolio? Is our retirement probability of success already at 92%?
Yeah.
I don't give a fluff when you're retiring then, right? Like, I mean, yes, let's back into this and knows the pros and cons, but then I will tell the client, it's like, we're okay either way at this point, right? What do you want? Now, if their retirement probability of success is 69%, I'm having a very different conversation.
Sure. It matters then.
It really matters, right? So this is, I just wanted to give it a direct example of, you know, when I'm really paying attention to this. I mean, no matter what, when someone retires, you're going to bring up these things. Yeah. But it's where is the client too in their retirement plan. Okay.
Wrap us up.
All right. My bow is, if you are thinking about retiring, about to go into financial freedom, there's a few things I want you to pay attention to. 1, max out your 401k and HSA before you leave. If you get an employer match, pay attention to when that gets paid in, especially if it's hefty. And don't leave your bonus and RSUs on. You want to know your RSU vest dates. You want to know when your bonus is paid. Make sure there's not a clawback, pension service credit. Speak to a health insurance agent before you retire. Have them compare COBRA to your other options. And if you have a lopsided portfolio, which we talked about, you have humongous amounts of money. Most of your portfolio is in pre-tax IRAs or 401k. We want you stashing that RSUs, that bonus, that cash for a year or two so that we can have some zero income tax years and Roth convert. How was that?
Perfect.
Was that a good bow? All right.
All right. If you're looking at retirement, that was just nuggets for days right there. So we need something in return. We need a like, a comment, subscribe, a follow, and you are going to send it to the person that is your work husband or wife who's looking to retire, because they need this information too. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to our next segment. It is called What Would You Do?
All right, I have some weird timing. My bonus and RSUs pay out in April, but my service credit for my pension doesn't get credited until October. You use this example. When should I retire based on this?
I feel like I already gave the answer. I kind of shot ahead of myself here. This is pure numbers. If you're happy in your job and all it comes down to is it's the RSUs and the pension, which do I give up? You got to figure out, well, which is the most valuable to you financially? For a lot of people, if they have worked in a company for a long time, leaving the pension early and not getting an extra year of credit is actually going to be very expensive. So I would say that is going to rank higher than the RSUs and the bonuses, because that could be $20,000 to $25,000 per year for the rest of your life.
Do you know where I'm going in this conversation, actually? Where my mind is going to is, I've seen this. We talk about this. People are more worried about running out of money than death.
Mm-hmm.
The studies have proven that.
Yep.
I think this is a slippery slope for retirees, because they'd be like, all right, I'm going to stay until Q1 now to get my RSUs and bonus. Okay, now it's April, May. I'm going to wait until October. I might as well get that pension credit. Okay, now the pension credit comes in October. You know what? I might as well just stay until Q1 next year and just do the 401k. I could see this just keep going and keep going to the point that they just keep kicking the can down the road. I'd be like, we have to pick a month.
For sure. This doesn't work until you have a locked-in date.
Yeah, you have to pick the lock-in date. I could see this just keep. And like, I wanted to give the example to this listener. You know, this is where we run the scenarios too. If let's say you're at a 90% retirement probability of success and it moves you down to an 89%, I'm not going to care if it moves at 1. If it moves at 10%, we're really paying attention to this.
Sure. All right, question 2. My wife retires at 62 and wants us to retire together. If I retire at 62, I lose a portion of my pension. Is that important, and should I delay my retirement so I don't lose it?
This is math. It is.
Yep.
I would want to understand how much pension are you losing and what that does that to your retirement plan. Does it tank it? Does it move it a very small amount? And you and your wife are going to be so happy and in great health in 62 and be able to travel the world, and you have $10 million and only need a 3% withdrawal rate on that. Not going to care too much, right? Yeah. But again, if it's a sizable amount and it's going to dictate whether your chance of success of keeping enough money and being in financial freedom and comfiness is sizable, then I'm going to have you stay. And the whole idea of you not retiring together, or maybe your wife retires later, I don't know.
I'm going to take a left turn here. And I'm going to pose a question and say, how do you get on with your wife right now? Because it could be.
I was really wondering where you were going with this.
Because I've seen couples that retire together after not spending too much time together. And they're like, I really do not like him right now. I would rather have some time by myself to figure out who I am in this next phase. And then we can do life together. So that is if the money works out, that's fine. Do you stagger your retirements, or do you do it all together and go on this big journey together? So figure that out first. There's
the personal side of the financial planning. All right, my 401k match is split evenly across the 12 months of the year. If I front load my 401k and retire in the spring, I lose a big portion of my match. Should I just retire at the end of the year?
Again, it's numbers, but matches usually don't make or break financial plans. So if someone's saying, do I then wait another 9 months to get $15,000, whatever it might be, or it could go up to 40, I'm like, does this materially impact you? Chances are no. So I'm not going to delay a retirement date just based on not getting 9 months of a match.
Okay, how about my scenario? Alex's employer match that just got hit was $27,000.
Again, does it make or break your retirement scenario?
Probably not, but I'm going to make him stay 2 more months because I want that free $27,000 that he worked so hard for. I mean, maybe not if he's miserable, health is declining. Okay, we're not going through that. But yeah, he's very aware that I like that free $27,000.
That works in your favor then, because if he gets that match, he's also going to be heavily deferring that income for the first 3 months of the year. When that match hits, he's out. And then you've got a zero income year and it works out well.
Yeah. But it's very nice to see this like sizable chunk just go in all at once. I'm like, oh, okay. Because, he maxes out his 401k too, but that's like throughout the year and very slow.
Sure. It's nice to see that balance raise up $27,000 in a day.
Yeah. It's like, woo, okay.
All right, that's the end of our questions. We're going to move on to the next segment. It is called Highlights. All right, Highlights is where we talk about ourselves personally, professionally. We're going to tell you anything and everything that we want to tell you, and you have no choice to listen. You're not allowed to turn off. This is another business update. I usually don't do too many of these, but 2026, I made a few changes marketing-wise, and it is heavily paying off to where I'm working with some awesome new clients who are kind of fitting the ideal mold of they are ready to work together. They have plenty of complexity and selfishly, they have plenty of money to work with, which means that
you have a lot to divvy up and it's fun.
Yeah. Like I get paid what I'm worth. And also they are retiring earlier than they want to because they just have been stacking money away. Fabulous. So it's fun to see when things pay off, that you're sowing the seeds and now it's harvest time. But it also makes for a busy time too, which I'm ready for. So it's been a very fruitful start to the year. I'm
still going to poke you because when you started this idea of podcast 2 years ago, you were like, I'm good. And then now you're like, all right, I want to give $100,000 away to charity. And now we're talking about your second home that I hope to get you because selfishly that's near me. And then, I want you to get your sports car. We're just going for it now.
It's weird when you get to a crux in your career and you're like, I kind of did it. And then you kind of reinvent your career and you're like, then it reinvigorates you and gets you growing. And those fun goals that for me, they have nothing to do with me. I just want to make more and more money so I can give more and more away.
I'm very excited for you.
It's going to be fun.
All right. Because you went on a business one, I'm going to go on a business one.
Okay.
Dave, I am getting more and more speaking requests. I don't even know what to do. Alex is making fun of me. He's like, it's like not even a big deal. It's like, oh, you have another one. And 2 weeks later, I'm speaking at this or this or this. And I love it that I'm being very, that I'm looked at and people want to hear what I have to say in the financial planning world for speaking. But I watched a recording of myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give you I'm grateful for you, but guess what I noticed about myself that I say a lot? You don't know? And I was like, dang it, Dave. So for our listeners, Dave gave me feedback a while back. He was like, all right, you say, I'm cutting it out a lot. I'm better now, right? So apparently I've fixed it on the podcast, but I have not fixed it on speaking. So that's my next thing. But I wanted to say you were dead right.
Do you know the thing I've learned? Is you take the out and you replace it with silence.
Isn't that good?
Yeah. Because it resets what you're saying and people are like, why did she stop talking?
Wait, that's what I've been doing? I'm now silent?
That's, if you feel yourself saying, that's what you replace it with is silence.
Have I been doing that though?
You be silent?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I know. Okay. But I'm just really curious and where this is going to lead with the speaking, but I'm excited about it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Playbook of the Wealthy. If you want to listen to us more audio-wise, we're on every podcast platform you can find us on. Video, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, probably somewhere else. If you want to send us an email, you got to go to the website first. It is playbookotw.com. You can send us an email from there. We're at hello@playbookotw.com. We love your questions. Send them in, and we'll see you next time.
Toodles!
All opinions expressed by Dave Grant and Heather Townsend are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the views of their respective wealth management firms. This podcast is for informational purposes only, should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Nothing in this material constitutes a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Clients of Retirement Matters and Townsend Financial may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.